In my view, there was something at least as big yesterday, which is the story, this alleged story of the killing of 66 people in Kajuru, in Kaduna. And that story, if you noticed, was broken by the Kaduna State Governor with his personal publicist, Muyiwa Adekeye, standing by his shoulder. No police officer, no SSS officer, no security person in the vicinity. And he was throwing out words that were calculated to be very incendiary on the eve of very difficult elections about a location that is very difficult and has had historical problems with violence across communities. And he was dropping these bromides like he was on some substance, with all due respect. And I spent all of last night trying to verify from all the sources in Kajuru, and nobody can verify or substantiate that there has been a killing of 66 people in Kajuru over the past few days. And INEC has got to deal with this kind of reality. Okay? It is not just logistics. It is politicians with all manner of designs. And I think it is important, as we deal with the story of this question of postponement, to begin to call out politicians to order. You cannot, on the eve of a very difficult election, as a state governor, stand by yourself with your publicist and be talking about the killing of 66 people of one ethnic group and be talking about it with a celebratory air. That is beyond irresponsible. And I think people across all political divides must call out the Kaduna State Governor. And any other governor in this country who tries this kind of thing on the eve of this kind of event in our country must be called out.
If I get you right, Professor Odinkalu, what you're saying is that this story about the killing, what the governor actually said was the killing of 66 Fulanis. That was the phrase he used. That what you're saying is that it may just as well have been a hoax, since you haven't been able to confirm it from any of the people that you know in the area.
I am saying this with every sense of responsibility. All I spend my life doing around this election is dealing with violence and atrocities. And when I heard this story yesterday, as I said, I spent the entire night calling up all the sources I know in Kajuru. And I spend a lot of time working on southern Kaduna. So I have a lot of colleagues across all divides, community leaders, faith leaders. These are not politicians. Community leaders, faith leaders, people who live in the neighborhood, professionals who care about what happens in these communities, who don't live in Kaduna or Kafanchan, who are living in Kajuru. And not one person can substantiate. What is it? There were some killings in Kajuru last week, up until about Saturday or Sunday. The best numbers we can get, and every life matters, so I'm not saying this carelessly, about 10, 11 people were reportedly killed in Kajuru about Sunday. As a matter of fact, there are still victims from that killing at St. Gerard's Hospital in Kaduna. The governor indeed was at St. Gerard's Hospital on Tuesday. When did this killing that he talks about happen? No bodies, no police officer, no SSS, no sites, no cameras. And I challenge any medium in the country and beyond Nigeria, let us all go to Kajuru and let the governor join us and let him tell us where he got these bodies from. And let him show up with Muyiwa Adekeye and with Samuel Arunwa, who is his spokesperson. And let us all go there, because this is too serious for anybody to make. I say this as a Nigerian who believes in this country, who believes every life matters. This is too serious for any governor to say and get away with at this election. Now, but I'm not going to let this Kajuru matter go.
Okay.
I'm sorry about this.
No, don't be.
When you say 66 Nigerians were killed, you must produce I will not let this Kajuru matter go.
No, don't. You made the point that Malam Nasir El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, who it was that released the statement, we actually have him on tape saying this, which is what you alluded to when you said when he made the statement, there was no security, there was nothing like that around and all of that, needs to provide proof. I'm sure his handlers are listening. If Malam El-Rufai himself isn't listening, his handlers are listening, and will, of course, be reaching out to them with what you said to get their reaction to it and get back to the viewers to know what exactly, where the truth lies in between what you've said, which is that it isn't true, and what he said, which is that this is what has transpired. So letting it go is not one of the options on the table at the moment.
This is not personal. This is not personal. I've got to be very clear. Malam Nasir El-Rufai is my friend. His media, his publicist, Muyiwa Adekeye, is my friend. His spokesperson, Samuel Arunwa, is my friend. I claim all of them as friends. But when you say, therefore, also, I'm not doing politics here. This is not public relations. This is the only thing I live for, the protection of everybody who is Nigerian. And when you say, as a governor, on the eve of the most competitive elections we probably have had, that 66 Nigerians were killed. First of all, it is irresponsible to say that on the eve of an election. If you listen to your last segment, my good brother, Babatunde Agala, said an election is not the property of the president or the parties. It is the property of INEC. He was saying that in response to a point by Frank Audu that the government had not said anything about the attacks, arson attacks, allegedly, on INEC in Kwampan, in Jos, and in Isialambano, and in Oka. Yes? Why would a governor, on the eve, who is running for office, on the eve of these elections, go and allege the killing of members of one community, 66 of them in one location, without telling INEC, without telling SSS, without telling the police, without telling any security agency, and do that with just his publicist by his shoulder? Is it a publicity affair that 66 of your people have been killed? But let me repeat myself. I've spent I did not sleep. I spent last night, all the period from when I left the studio yesterday until the early hours of this morning, calling up all my contacts in Kajuru, not Kaduna, in Kajuru, not Kafanchan, in Kajuru. Not one person can substantiate this claim. And I'm inviting my good friend, the governor of Kaduna State, let us all go to Kajuru with SSS, with police. Let us arrange a satellite overfly if we must. We have to get to the bottom of this matter. Nobody, no politician should get away with this kind of thing.